Our main character wakes up in a very weird environment. All he can see is a sea, and he wonders how he has gotten to the sea or how he will leave. He recalls that he wasn't in the sea like a few days ago. In fact, he figures that the last memory he can remember was riding on his bike, and a truck carrying a vending machine was in front of him. Suddenly, he sees that the rope used to hold the vending machine has loosened, and the machine is falling. He is a lover of vending machines. In fact, he enjoys buying from them every time, so he can't wait and watch what he likes seeing the most fall and get destroyed. He jumps up from his bike, jumps towards the machine and tries to protect it from falling off, but the device falls on just his head. And that is the last memory he has of being human. He realizes he must have died, and maybe he has reincarnated. He is happy at the reincarnation opportunity, but it turns out that is just his first problem. While he is glad he has reincarnated, he tries to come out of the water he has found himself in. But he sees that it is not easy to come out of it. He wonders what is going on, and when he sees there is no solution, he suddenly starts screaming. It is at that point that he hears a voice welcoming him, and the voice is asking him to put in a coin. He really can't understand what is going on, but he can figure out that the voice he is hearing is his voice. The voice asks what people want to buy and even greets them goodbye, and he is amazed about this. It eventually dawns on him that he has become reincarnated as a vending machine. He is super surprised, and he doesn't know what to do. While the other side of him is so excited that he is reincarnated as a vending machine, another part of him is angry and sad at the opportunity of being reincarnated as a non-living thing. He concludes that since he is obsessed with a vending machine, it probably means that the universe has heard his prayers, and they can see his wishes, which is why they gave him exactly what he wanted. He accepts his fate and decides to find out how the machine works and how he will survive. He sees that he can only say a few words like welcome, please put in some coins, thank you, and you can win a bonus. That's not much of a surprise to him since those are the exact words a normal vending machine can say. He keeps trying to understand his new system, and he thinks of how he can use it effectively. While he spends some time thinking, he sees some numbers, and he doesn't know what he means. He assumes his brain is flashing those numbers across to him, but he quickly realizes that he is no longer human and there is no way his brain can flash numbers at him. He tries to find the numbers again, and he sees that it is the system. The system shows him that he can use his points to buy things or change features on the vending machine, and he can also use them to change the products he wants to sell. He finds the points and sees that he has 1,000 points. That looks enough for him to do everything he wants to do at that moment, so he gets into action and tries to find the different products in the machine that he can sell. At that moment, he is selling water, so he checks the system and sees that he has all the products he buys on a normal day as a human, including ramen. He is excited to add milk to his products, and he sees that adding milk will deduct 10 out of his points. He doesn't know the importance of the points at that moment, so he buys it regardless. He keeps checking the system and sees that with the points, he can maintain the coldness and hotness of the products in his vending machine. He can make his ramen hot, and he can also use it for several things. Reality becomes dawn on him when he discovers that his machine doesn't work with electricity or solar. Instead, his machine is powered by the points. He spends a point in an hour, which means he will spend 24 points in a day, and that means with his 990 points, he can survive for about 41 days. He can also earn points by selling products in his vending machine. If he fills products of 100 coins, he will get 1 point to power his vending machine. He needs to sell at least 24 products in a day. That seems a little easy for him, and all remains well and good until he looks at his environment, and he sees he is by the waterside in an empty desert. There is no one living around or anyone staying around that can buy from him, neither does he have the legs to walk away from that place and go to a more lucrative place. As he thinks of that problem without a solution, he sees a creature before him. At first glance, the creature is huge, and it looks like a human, but when he checks well, he sees it is only a frog holding a hammer. The frog looks so big and walks like a human, and when the frog gets nearer to the vending machine, the machine welcomes the frog, but the frog, who doesn't understand that language, deems him as a risk and starts hitting him with the hammer. He starts getting several notifications from the system that his durability is reducing. He finds out that he loses 3 durability in 1 hit. He doesn't know how much durability he has or how to find it, so he checks the system and sees that he has 100 durability, which keeps reducing at every hit. He assumes that the frog will satisfy his want and leave him alone, but to his shock, he sees the frog calling in for reinforcement, and within minutes, another 3 other frogs join him, and they all start hitting the vending machine. He strives to find a solution and ways to survive. He keeps increasing his durability with points, but it's not enough. He checks the system to see if he can get something to protect himself, and he sees a blessing. The system tells him blessing is a gift given by the gods, and he can use it for free. He accepts to use blessing and sees several gifts there, including the ability to protect himself with a barrier. He takes that ability immediately, and a box barrier covers him and throws the frogs away. The frogs fall, and after they recuperate for a while, they stand up again, pick up their instruments and continue hitting the vending machine. He wonders if the frogs won't get tired, and he sees that his durability is reducing in minutes and also points because of the barrier he is using. Eventually, the frogs get tired and they leave him. He recovers and repairs his body fully, and after those expenses, he has about 311 points left. He decides he will just live for the next few days and hope he gets a buyer. A few days later, he realizes that there is no way he could get a buyer there. He is scared that he will die without even selling to someone as a vending machine. He feels very sad, and fortunately for him, he sees a girl coming. The girl is a hunter who has chased some frogs towards that side of the water. She is tired and exhausted as he cries that the frogs should come out of her hiding. She is hungry and she rests there. She regrets accepting to be a hunter and apologizes to her parents for not following their advice. She says she left her food and drink and came to the forest to chase animals for food. She raises her head up, and she sees the vending machine. Although she doesn't know what it is, she decides to go nearer, and when she does so, the machine welcomes her and asks her to drop a coin. She looks inside it and sees some products. She can't read the language, but she assumes it is something eatable or drinkable, so she decides to drop a coin. She puts a coin, but the system says the coin she has dropped isn't accepted. The system tells the machine that he can change his currency with 100 points, and he immediately does so with the points so he can at least get a buyer. The system changes the currency to OA, the currency that is used in that area, and the price changes to 1,000 OA. The lady complains that the price is high, but she is also hungry and tired, so she decides to buy it regardless. She puts the coins inside the vending machine, and she doesn't know what to do next. He gives her corn stew, and she sees it coming out of the box. She is scared that he may swallow her if she puts her hand, but she summons the courage to do it regardless. She brings out the stew, and she doesn't know how to open it. She eventually twists the can, and it opens. She eats it, which is very delicious, so she decides to try another item. She figures the white thing there is water, and she decides to go for milk. She pays and takes her milk, and when she eats it, she is pleased about how it tastes. Eventually, she ate about 3 corn stew and drank milk and topped it up with water. She spends about 63 OA, and he gains about 63 points from her. He is so excited that he has gotten a new customer. Seeing how excited she looks after filling her stomach makes him very satisfied, and he is very happy. She feels so tired after the food, and she sleeps off. To safeguard her from the monsters in the forest, he uses his barrier to cover her. The following day when she wakes, she sees she has slept off. Before leaving, she appreciates him for saving her but says she wants to speak with him, but he can't communicate. She asks him to say hello there when he means yes and any other things when he means no. She tells him she is Lammy's, and she asks if he is lonely, and when he says yes, she tells him about a magic power fanatic in her village, Hulami, and says she would like to show him to Hulami and asks if she can carry him away. He tells her yes, and they start the journey. On their way, she gets tired and wants more food, so he changes his stock to chips, and she gets delighted when she eats it. He gains about 300 coins more. They arrive at the stratum, and she meets the guards, Karios and Gorth. They are glad she is still alive, and she also tells them about the machine she found by the river. She teaches them how to buy, and they also buy all the products in the machine. They beg her to bring the machine to the gate every night. On her way home, she sees a girl being bullied by some adults, and she saves her. She goes to an inn where she meets her friend, Manami. She drops the vending machine outside and greets Manami. She shows Manami the machine and also what it could do and says she wants to take it to Hulami. However, she doesn't have money for the transportation cycle to take her to Hulami, so Manami suggests that she works in the inn to earn money, and the vending machine can also sell its goods. The plan goes well during the day. The machine sells for the villagers, and at night, she takes him to the guard. He decides to add another goods called Odin, and everyone falls in love with it. He doesn't sell Odin during the day so the inn can make sales, and he also helps them draw customers. His weight is too much for Lammy's to carry around every night, so she decides to make a wooden backpack so she can use it to carry him every night and morning. She takes him to the gate that night, and on their way back the following day, she asks him if he has been enjoying and making sales. He tells her yes and appreciates her, but she reminds him he was the one who saved her first. She hopes that one day he will be able to speak more words, and she says that's why she wants to visit Hilami early. She names him Boxo because it has been difficult to call him without a name, and he also accepts the name. He concludes that it is really not a bad idea to be reincarnated as a vending machine in another world, and he has been enjoying his stay. The next morning, Hakan, the vending machine, now named Boxo by the girl, Lammy's, gets confused seeing the giant bear in front of him and wonders what the deal is with it as the bear looks to be wearing human clothes. While the bear is staring at Boxo, Lammy's comes out of the door of the house behind him and wishes him good morning. Lammy's sees the bear in front of Boxo and recognizes him as the director of the Hunters Association. She finds it rare that someone so famous has come here and is intrigued to know why. The director explains that he is here to see what Boxo is, since he is the talk of the village. Boxo greets with the director, realizes that it's not just a wild creature, so he gets surprised to see a tool speak his language. The director then tells Lammy's that his organization has made a plan to go to a nearby frog field base and requests that she take part in it alongside Boxo. Lammy's understands why the director needs her to take part in the subjugation, but she doesn't understand why Boxo, a literal vending machine, needs to take part in it as well. She tells the director that Boxo can't fight, which he claims to already know, and tells Lammy's that he just wants Boxo to provide food supplies while the hunters are on the road to the frog's base. He explains to her that warm and ready-to-go food would be invaluable for the hunters and promises to treat her well if she brings Boxo. But Lammy's doesn't own Boxo, so she turns to him and asks if he wants to go with the hunters voluntarily. Boxo realizes that the village he is staying in will be exposed to danger if he ignores the frog fiends, and that might also cause his only friend Lammy's to get into danger as well. So, Boxo agrees to help the director, making both Lammy's and the bear feel happy. After that, Boxo and Lammy's soon join the hunters in the raid on the frog fiends and spend the next 3 days traveling with them. While traveling, Boxo tells us what Director Bear told him earlier. According to Director Bear, the survival of the village is important, but what matters most is that the village doesn't lose custody of its transfer circle. The transfer circle is apparently a magic device that lets people come and go from the clearflow laid stratum to other strata or the surface. Basically, it's a transportation system in this world. Two hunters named Aka and Shiro talk about how this is the time of year to earn lots of money. Aka believes that there will be more frog fiends than last year and looks forward to getting as much loot as possible. But Lammy's and Boxo get worried as more frog fiends than usual mean more danger. Later, when the sun was setting, the hunters set up camp to stay the night. Lammy's drops Boxo after carrying him all the way when a hunter named Kirioil approaches her and tells her not to be afraid of the frog fiends as all the hunters will guard her and Boxo's safety. He knows that Boxo has a mind of its own and learns from Lammy's that if he puts his money inside Boxo, he can buy food or drinks from him. So, Kirioil buys a bottle of lemon tea and is surprised to see such exquisite packaging. However, to his dismay, he learns from Lammy's that the packaging alongside the bottle will disappear once he finishes the drink. Still, he drinks the entire bottle to have a taste of the lemon tea, and is totally amazed by its flavor. Kirioil asks Lammy's how Boxo refills the drinks and learns from her that even though Boxo has sold hundreds of items, his inventory always remains empty and never needs to be refilled. Kirioil finds that completely weird and wonders what mysteries this talking machine is hiding. He calls his friend Filmina to come to him to ask her about Boxo since she specializes in magic tools and ancient treasures. Filmina takes a closer inspection of Boxo and comes to the conclusion that Boxo is not a magical item, as she doesn't sense any magical power coming from him. But that doesn't explain how Boxo remains filled with infinite items, so Kirioil assumes that the stuff inside him is being transferred from some otherworldly space. Filmina thinks that could be the case, as there are blessings in this world that can do this stuff without using magic. But she doesn't understand how a block of metal can use a blessing, not knowing that the block of metal is actually a reincarnated human. The mystery of Boxo remains unsolved, but Kirioil is glad to have Boxo on their side. As the sun will soon set, the adventurers will need to eat some food, so they turn to their trusty infinite food supply, Boxo. Boxo gets excited to have so many customers lining up in front of him and begins serving them a newly added item on his inventory called cup noodles. The adventurers find the flavor too tasty for their appetites, and one of them, Shui, gulps everything down as fast as she can. Lammy sits with Shui, seeing her eating all alone, and introduces herself to her. Director Bear joins them as well, as he wants to talk about the submission tomorrow. Lammy's takes this opportunity to tell the director that she doesn't want to drag Boxo into battle. But Boxo expresses, using his few preset dialogues, that he does want to help out the hunters. So, Lammy's respects his decision and agrees to take him with her in battle. The next morning, the hunters begin their journey again and wind up in a place filled with dense fog. Director Bear realizes that the frog fiends must be just up ahead, so he commands all the hunters to charge ahead. The frogs come out of nowhere to attack the hunters, but they are well prepared and begin to defeat the frogs one after another. Lammy's also wants to help the hunters and lands a punch on a frog, defeating it in one blow. Lammy's could never land a punch before, so she assumes that it's all thanks to carrying Boxo, which caused her to gain proper balance when hitting. Kirioil and his party swiftly kill the frogs, and the mage in their team, Philomena, shows off her Hydra magic ability by killing a group of frogs at once. But they are getting nowhere even after beating dozens of frogs, as more keep emerging from the muddy grounds. The frogs soon outnumber the hunters, and they realize that they are now in real trouble. Philomena asks her captain, Kirioil, what they should do here, and he just orders them to go all out on the frogs. One frog comes to attack Lammy's, but before it can reach her, her new friend Shui kills it using her bow. But Shui lets her guard down, and another frog takes the opportunity to ambush her. Lammy's tries to protect Shui by becoming her human shield, so Boxo finally reveals a glimpse of his powers and uses shield magic to prevent the frog from coming any closer. Shui and Lammy's wonder who put a wall of light on them, but they don't even comprehend that it could just be the magical block of metal with them. Boxo thinks that he should learn a new skill like enemy detection and finds a skill called omnidirectional vision. So he learns it even though it costs 1,000 points and begins to see everything from a 360-degree angle. Now that Boxo has become an official Go Pro, he begins to look for enemies around him. He detects an enemy and warns Lammy's and the group about it, which makes Kirioil greatly impressed. Lammy's also gets praised by Kirioil, so she starts blushing and forgets that she is the only one who understands Boxo. Boxo keeps warning her about enemies ambushing them, but she still keeps blushing because of Kirioil's compliment. So, Boxo takes the initiative himself and activates his blue light shield again to protect everyone. Now that it has been done twice, Lammy's realizes that it is Boxo's power. Learning that, Kirioil gets even more intrigued by Boxo and gives him I'm up to no good look. So, Boxo becomes wary of Kirioil. With Boxo's help and the hunter's determination to win, they finally defeat the frog fiends and begin preparing them to pack them up and send them to the Hunters Association. Kirioil's team begins processing the frogs, and Philomena tells Kirioil to help them do so. But he doesn't want to deal with these meager matters, as he is the great captain of the team. Now that the subjugation is done, Kirioil's team's only job left is to guard Lammy's and Boxo. But Kirioil wants to make more money and decides to go to the other areas not assigned to his team to hunt more monsters before going back to the village. Kirioil requests that Lammy's join them for more combat action, so Lammy's happily agrees to help them. So, the group heads to another place and takes care of more frog fiends together. Lammy's notices that some of the hunters have gotten injured, so she wants to help them get back to safety and carries the injured hunters one after the other to the wagon. Boxo also wants to help the injured hunters, so he adds another item to his inventory and gives it to Shui. Since it's a sport drink, he believes it might help the injured hunters. So, Lammy's hands the drinks to the hunters, and they begin to feel a bit relieved from the pain. Director Bear comes to thank Kirioil for their amazing contribution to this subjugation event, and reveals to him that he thinks the only reason the frogs have increased is because a new frog fiend king has arisen. Although it's just speculation, it's more than enough to make everyone worry for their safety. So, Director Bear reassigns Kirioil's party from being Lammy's guards to join the others to kill the frog fiend king. Director Bear then tells Lammy's to remain here so that Boxo can provide food to the exhausted and injured hunters. Later at night, all of the hunters drink the sports juice in peace and call Lammy's for more help. While Lammy's is away, a hunter who looks like he is up to no good comes to Boxo with a master key, hoping that he can steal the money. But Boxo isn't going to let that happen, so he punishes the man by tricking him into grabbing a hot drink. As the man begins to scream, Lammy's quickly comes there and disarms him before he can hurt Boxo. While the hunters are still chilling, the Frog King, with hellish flames surrounding him, shows up to make things worse. Lammy's takes Boxo to run away, but the boars that will ride them back home get too scared to move after seeing the Frog King. Realizing how scared the boars are, Lammy's frees them from the wagon and lets them run off. She is clearly out of her mind, as this is no time to think about animal cruelty. Also, they are literally killing frogs. Anyway, Lammies takes the boar's place and begins to carry the wagon forward with her superhuman strength. The Frog King follows the wagon and slowly catches up to them. So, Boxo wonders what he should do and looks for some useful skill that would help Lammies go quicker. He finds Coca-Cola and hands it to the hunters. Then he turns himself into a Mento machine. Now that he has made a plan to turn Coca-Cola into a bomb, he just needs to make Lammies understand that she needs to insert the Mentos into the bottle. After thinking hard, Lammies figures out that she needs to mix the Mentos with Coca-Cola and begins to use it as a weapon against the Frog King. So, with the help of Coca-Cola, the fire surrounding the Frog King gets extinguished, which is apparently its weakness. So, the Frog King gets defeated. Director Bear thanks Lammies for helping them out so much and keeps bowing to her repeatedly while she also bows to him out of respect. After this successful subjugation, the hunters return home. After the exciting battle against the frogs, the hunters safely return to the village along with Lammies and Boxo. Boxo tells us that no unusual events have transpired on his way back home, but at the end of their journey, he sees a huge cloud of smoke coming from the village. Seeing that, Kirioil's party gets shocked, but Director Bear keeps his composure. He first apologizes to everyone, as he will need their help again after all that work, and reveals that they must fight this unknown enemy now. Lammies gets in tears, wondering if Manami and the others are okay. Boxo realizes that Lammies must be very close to Manami, so he understands why she feels so worried for her. He wants to comfort her, but since he has only preset dialogues, he cannot express his feelings very well. So, he looks for another way and tells Lammies to insert coins forward to here. It seems Lammies understands Boxo's language pretty well, as she realizes that he is trying to tell her to go to the village first before assuming that something bad happened. So, Lammies keeps her hopes up and heads to the village to see what has happened. After entering the village, Lammies and the group see that all of the houses are completely in shambles. Boxo sees huge drag marks and assumes that something huge got dragged through here. While he is wondering what that might be, Lammis rushes forward, hoping that her inn is okay. But when she reaches there, she sees that the inn is also completely destroyed. Lammies screams Manami and Mrs.'s names, but none of them respond. Boxo realizes that at this rate, Lammies will recklessly run inside the inn to look for them and hurt herself, so he tells her to calm down and think rationally. So, Lammies takes a deep breath and concludes that since there's no answer, Manami and Mrs. must have evacuated somewhere else. She thinks hard about where they could have evacuated and realizes that they went to the Hunters Association. So, she and Boxo head to the Hunters Association to find out what has caused the trouble. There she runs into her two old associates and high-level hunters named Karios and Gorth, who seem to have already slayed the two-headed snake-like monster that has wrecked the village. Karios feels relieved that Lammies is safe and sound, and knowing that she might be worried about Mrs. and Manami, Karios tells her that both of them are safe inside. Gorth also mentions that the transfer circle is fully defended, which, according to Director Bear, is the most important thing in the village. Boxo realizes that the only reason the hunters managed to defeat such a monster is because this place was built inside a dungeon. Therefore, this place also has high-level defensive weapons everywhere. Lammies finally goes to see Manami and Mrs., and they welcome her back after her long journey. Seeing their happy faces, Lammies feels greatly relieved. It seems that all of the villagers are safe, which makes Boxo happy even though he has only lived there for a few weeks. So, he realizes that he must have grown to care for them and doesn't want to lose any of them. Boxo feels that all the more because he has already died once, so he decides to give all the villagers his food supplies for free. Because they get free food, the villagers get happy and throw a feast at night. The hunters light a campfire to celebrate their victory against the frog fiend and the two-headed snake monster. Boxo shows what a genius he is by explaining to us that the snake monster is apparently a natural enemy of the frogmen. So, it's great that both parties ended up dying. Boxo then sees that the villagers are actually cooking the monster meat to eat, which disgusts him. After eating the meal, the villagers need to have drinks once again, so they line up in front of Boxo to get free drinks. But Boxo doesn't think that he is losing money, rather, he believes that he will be making more money by getting more customers. After the feast, a drunk Lammies comes to Boxo to tell him how her day went. She feels happy that everything went well and also feels more happy to see how everyone gathered in front of Boxo. She tells Boxo that she believes that he has become a necessary part of this place, and that also makes her happy. She then hugs Boxo and falls asleep right then and there. Boxo understands how pure-hearted Lammies is and ends the day by wishing her good night. The next day, the merchants get busy getting their shops ready. A lot of carpenters have also gathered around to fix the broken houses, while the hunters are on guard duty. Boxo tells us that Lammies has gone to meet Director Bear for a commotion. He wonders if Lammies will get some reward for being such a great help on this expedition. While Boxo is still in his thoughts, Lammies approaches him and reveals that she has gotten a personal request for rubble removal from Director Bear. She immediately goes to do her work, and using her blessing of might, she starts to collect all the rubble and clear the areas. Kirioel approaches her to invite her to join his hunters team and offers to take in Boxo too. But Lammies refuses, as she needs to do the job that is assigned to her first. A woman named Akawi, claiming to be from the exchange house, approaches Boxo alongside her assistant, Gokgai. Akawi tells Lammies that she has come here to trade silver coins with Boxo. Akawi claims that she has brought 100 gold coins with her and wants to exchange them with Boxo's saved up silver coins. Boxo realizes it's quite a lot of money since 1 gold coin is equal to 100 silver coins. But he still rejects Akawi's offer as he doesn't have any exchange functions. Lammies comes to Akawi's rescue and comes up with a plan to use 1 gold coin to buy a cheap item, so that Boxo is forced to return what she owes with silver coins. Akawi does that, and silver coins keep showering from Boxo, so she keeps doing so and begins to fill her bag with silver coins. The evil guy who tried to steal Boxo's earnings before gets greedy seeing this once again and comes up with yet another evil plan. After exchanging coins with Akawi, Boxo decides to add a gambling function to him, and after installing it, he gets 30% more money than usual. An old man gets addicted to gambling and makes Boxo the most money while losing his own fortune, so his wife drags him away, promising to give him a good beating. Director Bear again calls Lammies and also Boxo to the Hunters Association and thanks both for all their help. He tells Boxo that he has a favor to ask in private and requests that Lammies leave the room for this. So once Lammies is outside, Director Bear tells Boxo that he will need his help by providing them food to fight the famine that will definitely hit them because of the destruction of the village. The bear needs another helping hand from Boxo, and he calls a woman named Shirley inside, who tells Boxo about the diseases that might also come with the famine, so they would need to contain the population. So, Boxo turns into a family planning machine and gives Shirley a packet that can stop reproduction. Seeing how good the product is and how it could also help to contain diseases as well as the population, Shirley decides to purchase a large portion and distribute the product in the entertainment district. After making lots of sales, Lammies carries Boxo back to the inn. A cunning girl named Suori tries to pick up a fight with Boxo and brings rocks to damage him, so he calls for help, and she gets taken away by her own guards. But she remains resilient and comes again to pick up a fight. But before she can, Boxo offers her a free mango juice, so he finally gets on her good side. Later at night, Lammies carries Boxo inside the new hygiene center made by Shirley, and for some reason, she thinks that it would be a great thing to change her clothes right in front of him. Boxo then turns into a beauty product machine and gives Lammies a product to make her skin glow. A fox and a bear female come there and also get beauty products from Boxo to attract the males. Shirley and Lammies take a bath, and afterward, they ask for a drink from Boxo that can make them feel more refreshed. After helping them with their needs, Boxo ends his day with high sales success. The next day, the old man comes again to gamble, and this time he brings his granddaughter to teach her as well. After teaching her the rules of the lottery games, he tells her to play, thinking she might bring good luck to him. The girl actually wins as she gets a 777 and gifts her grandpa the winning prize, which is just a bottle of a soft drink. The old man gets happy for a second, but his happiness quickly goes away as he realizes that he has wasted all of his day doing nothing. But his granddaughter feels happy that she got to spend the day with her grandpa after so many days. The old man finally realizes what is more precious to him, and that is his family. So he happily returns to his family, ending Boxo's gambling business. Director Bear learns that Boxo can hide his presence and blend in with his surroundings. So, he asks Boxo a favor, turn invisible so that he can identify the recent offender who is secretly committing a lot of crimes in the village. But before that, Director Bear wants to test if Boxo has what it takes and takes him in front of the Hunters Association. Boxo becomes invisible with the goal of passing the test. Lammies begins to look for him and learns from Minami that Director Bear borrowed him for today. So, she decides to head to the Hunters Association after collecting all of the rubble left today. After collecting the ruins of the houses, Lammies happily comes there and runs into Shirley, who asks her where the director is. Lammies tells her that the director is busy right now and wonders what Boxo is doing right now. After delivering the rubble, Lammy's heads back and sees Suori coming her direction, so she stops to talk with her right in front of the invisible Boxo. Lammies scolds Suori for always messing with Boxo, but instead of learning her lesson, Suori then begins to insult Lammies. Lammies remains unshaken even after Suori's insults and tells her to stop being a brat. But Suori keeps acting like a brat and tells Lammies that she wants to buy Boxo from her. Lammies knows that Suori is the child of the rich noble in town, so she must be offering the big bucks. But still, Lammies doesn't want to sell Boxo, not because he is our friend but because he is a literal cheat code for this world system. So, she tells Suori that no matter how much money she offers, she won't be handing over Boxo. Suori tells Lammies that she will offer her so much money that Lammies' family will fritter it away for 3 generations and still not run out. But Lammies makes it clear that she can't sell Boxo since she technically doesn't own him. Besides, mere paper can't replace a magical being. So, Suori tells Lammies to set her priorities straight and thinks that instead of wasting her day with a block of iron, she should find a man who could fill her needs. Moreover, she thinks that Boxo would be happier spending time with her than a girl who has no sex appeal. But Lammies knows she has plenty and plays an Uno reverse on Suori. So Suori feels insulted and tells her that she is still growing. They both get into banter about who is hotter than the other, but end up getting nowhere. So Suori gives up and finally becomes serious. She asks Lammies if she knows that Boxo isn't just some magical tool. Lammies explains that she is not sure what he is and thinks of Boxo as a human rather than a tool. Hearing that, Boxo gets thankful for having such a great, understanding friend and thanks Lammies once Suori leaves. That's it for this one. Did you enjoy this recap? If you did, kindly like this video and subscribe to our channel so we can bring you the recap of the next episodes of this weird anime series. Until next time, stay safe and take care.